So the second half of this chapter definitely was where I felt my interest was mainly held, because for starters we have Gajeel's perspective on things, how he feels about Gray being with Avatar, and ultimately where his relationship stands with Gray. He's basically like, you're into the sick shit with, you know, the possibilities of major depths coming around. Fuck you, we ain't comrades. And even Panther Lily had to look at him like, damn, that's, you know, kind of fucked, but I understand where you're going with this. And also we got a little bit of Levy being a part of the Magic Council, so we're starting to find out what a bunch of different people were doing yet again. I think that that's probably the most interesting role out of all these people, like Gajeel and Levy. For starters, of course, I'm guessing that they kind of are shipped together as well. Maybe their relationship already took off during the time skip, something along the lines of that, but at the very least we see that both of them stuck together and they're part of the Magic Council, which I wouldn't be surprised if they're like one of the few shippers that actually stood together during all this. Like, you know, Gray and Jubia split up, Natsu went his own way, and Lucy went her own way, but they stuck together, so yeah. But the first half of this chapter, yet again, it started going back into that feel, and I gotta say it, I'm sorry, it just really felt a lot like that Naruto and Sasuke situation yet again, honestly, with everything that happened between Natsu saying, hey, you know, you gotta come back, the slap from Lucy to Gray, just everything about the first half of this chapter just really felt very Naruto heavy. It just had the same vibe, him saying stop the BFF act and everything, except I would argue that it's a little bit more legit coming from Natsu, because for starters, it's only just recently, after 400 plus chapters, that they went their separate ways, and, you know, Gray started going down this path, opposed to, you know, with Naruto and Sasuke, that was a lot earlier. Also, Gray and Natsu have been through countless missions together. They've been friends for a long ass time. You know, they argued and whatnot, but ultimately they were really close friends for a really long time. So I would argue, as far as the whole BFF act, he just sounds silly saying it, because they legitimately were friends for a really long time. So Gray is just kind of coming off as BS, but it ultimately feels a little bit more genuine coming from Natsu, because yeah, they really were friends for a long ass time. And I'm sorry, but it just felt a little bit corny when Natsu was like, fairy tales in the heart, man. Like, seriously, why we gotta go back to that? Why we gotta go back to the corny speeches of love and all this other shit? Like, can we just get to the fact of, you're part of fairy tale, I'm fucking you up and dragging you back, let's call it a day. And I'm curious as to what exactly are Mari's powers, because she made Lucy's stomach hurt, and if I remember correctly, Kyoka from Tartarus, she had the ability as well to make people feel extreme pain, like what she did to Erza. So is it something along the lines of that, something a little bit different? And as far as Gray's character goes, I would say that while he has his revenge in mind and what he's trying to do and what he's trying to accomplish, ultimately he hasn't completely said fuck fairy tale, because if you look at his expressions and you look at how he's acting towards like Lucy being on the floor in pain and Natsu and them being chained to the floor and everything and them getting ready to cut Lucy's head off, he's looking down like if he's kind of sad and he don't really want to look at it per se. So it's not that he's completely like evil. I don't honestly buy that. It's just that he has his goals in mind and he just doesn't want to deal with Natsu and fairy tale. It's just like, it's done, the guild disbanded, I'm going my own way. But it's not necessarily that it's like, I'm gonna kill all you motherfuckers, I'm gonna kill everyone in fairy tale. It's more so just leave me the fuck alone. And we got a little bit of progression as well as far as Natsu's power goes, for the simple fact that even chained down, he was still getting up without none of his magic or the magic restraints on him. He's still like, fuck this shit. So definitely again showcasing how powerful Natsu has gotten. But again, I gotta honestly say that as far as like, and nothing is completely original, let's be real here. Everything is inspired, everything has a tone from something here or there, and Naruto by far isn't the originator of that little type of feel of, you know, chasing your friend and all that other stuff. So not saying that, but definitely just gives me that feel. Regardless of what, it totally gives me that feel. Everything about it, even when he's like, oh, I took the crest off, and, you know, like Sasuke abandoning the headband or whatever, just really gave me that same exact vibe. Although the art looked very sick when he was like pointing at his chest, and to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if he's bullshitting. Maybe it's still there somewhere, he marked over it, something along the lines of that, but I truly think that the Fairy Tail Guild mark is still going to be there, and at some given point Gray will come back to the good side. Let's be real here, we know how Fairy Tail is. So that's why I say the second half of the chapter is what really caught my interest, getting Gajeel's perspective and Levy and stuff like that. First half of the chapter, it was good, but it just honestly feels like I've seen this quite a few times, and it's interesting to see these characters go through this debacle, but nevertheless, it's like, yeah, not new ground covered per se from manga history. So anywhere from a 6.5 to a 7 for this one. Again, Gajeel is the best thing I felt about this chapter. It's just like, I want to see him bust up in there and grab Gray by his neck and say, you little motherfucker, and slap the dog shit out of him, because Natsu, while he'll fight with Gray, ultimately is like two brothers fighting. Gajeel and Gray have never really had that relationship, so it'd be a little bit more interesting coming from somebody that was a comrade but he's like, yo, bro, I don't give a fuck. You ain't shit to me right now. Let me know what you guys think. First of all, first half of this chapter, or a little over the first half, did you feel the same thing that I felt, that it just really felt Naruto heavy with Lucy coming and slapping him and everything along the lines of that? Also, what do you think about Gajeel's perspective on things, and how do you feel about him and Levy going to the Magic Council? Do you think that that officially confirms that they're together? And your overall thoughts of this chapter. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.